Many Democratic candidates are on the campaign trail in Iowa. The state's caucuses are just 9 weeks away. Senator Kamala Harris spent her Thanksgiving there, but she's been struggling to gain momentum. A new Washington Post report says Senator Harris is facing an uphill climb at a time when she was expected to be surging. Chelsea Janes wrote that piece and joins me now from Washington. Chelsea, thank you so much. You write that, quote, at the outset, party leaders viewed her as one of their best chances to beat President Trump, a rising female star with a mixed race background who could rebuild the coalition of voters that propelled Barack Obama to the presidency. Is it clear why that has not played out at this point?
Obviously, there are many reasons, but I think one of the clear problems that she's had is that she hasn't been able to articulate a clean vision. It just hasn't been one of those things that you can look at her and say, this is her brand, this is what she's selling. You know, I think in the context of this field, you have Joe Biden selling normalcy. You have Elizabeth Warren, talking about structural change. You have Senator Sanders, with his well-established brand. So, I think she just hasn't been able to say exactly what she stands for and why she's running, and it's reflected in the way voters have been hesitant about her.
Well, what have you been hearing from Harris staffers about the state of her campaign?
They're in some turmoil, I think, both in our report and then some great reporting from the Times this weekend. You saw that they're really struggling. They've set up a situation where you have Senator Harris's sister Maya on one side and her longtime advisors on the other, and no clear decision-making channels. And what that's done is sort of led to some wishy-washiness and some missteps. I think financially they've really had a tough time in terms of management. This was a campaign that started out with 22,000 people at its opening rally, seemed to have all the ins with the Hollywood donor scene and any ins you would need to sort of keep a campaign going for the long haul, and is suddenly out of money, cutting staff in New Hampshire, a state that she probably wasn't going to win anyway. So there's been some financial questions there too, and I think that's limiting her ability to capitalize on the fact that people still like her. When you talk to voters, they're interested by her, they want her to do well, but she's not their first choice. And in order to sort of eclipse that hurdle, she's going to have some money and some resources that she doesn't have right now.
Well, Harris has been spending a lot of her time in Iowa. Does the campaign have a plan for the time after the caucuses there?
I think they're hoping a strong showing there will sort of rejuvenate them. They've kept a foot in South Carolina, where they think that she can sort of chip into Joe Biden's very well-established firewall, as everyone calls it, and, sort of break into some of the African-American voters that make up more than half the electorate there. But if she's not showing strong in Iowa, that probably opens the door for Biden to take that state pretty safely. And then Harris is heading into some pretty murky waters as you get into Nevada and Super Tuesday. So they're putting a lot of effort into Iowa. I think they're hoping that South Carolina can sort of jump on board at the last minute, but they really need something to turn around, and Iowa's the place where that's going to happen.
All right, Chelsea Janes, thank you very much, Chelsea.
Thanks for having me.